Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for another episode of Cookiecast. Today on Cookiecast, we're trying something new. As I'm sure you guys know by now, here at Cookiecast, we like to try new things. So, a little bit of a background. I think we sort of consider that Cookiecast is like the brand, I guess, is what you might call it. And we've got Zombiecast, which I think we've started sort of referring to as our sister podcast. Podcast that's sort of attached to Cookiecast. It's got the Cookiecast sort of members, but it's its own thing. It's its own entity. Something that Sam Muscroft raised was maybe we should start doing more sort of offshoots of Cookiecast. So we've talked about doing something called Moviecast, which is where we talk about movies. This is kind of a start to that. So this is kind of Moviecast 1. It'll be called Moviecast 1. However, pretty sure towards the back end, we just start talking about games. A lot of movie talk. So if you like movies, this is probably for you. So yeah, see what you think to this. It's a new format or a similar format, just with a new name, whichever way you want to look at it. Give it a listen, give it a watch. It will be video on the YouTube channel, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and say it's going to be multi-angle video. So look out for that. So yeah, give this a try, see what you think. And this is Cookiecast Moviecast 1. So yeah. Right, I'm going to give it one of them. Okay, it's podcast time. Let's do this, motherfuckers. Do we think adding the motherfuckers is the way we should be going with this?
It definitely sounds more
family friendly, like most.
Gangster bitches, family friendly. I think we lost family friendly 13 seconds into the first podcast.
It's pretty sure we did. Did I not ask? Can we say the word cunt?
No, I just did. It was all of our.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was how your first one went.
I had to get that in there now. I'm sorry to start off. I just started off with the inflammatory stuff to make sure. Yeah, just to make sure it's not.
Do you remember that podcast I had to cut the first 4 minutes off?
Yes.
No. Well, that's going to ruin the dynamic of all these cameras.
That's it. Now it's all changed. Hey, viewers.
It's fine because you are now on none of the cameras, whereas before you were on none of the cameras. Me and you were on camera, it's fine.
It's actually
then sure you need to set up the camera so they've got a wider.
To be fair,
you don't want to be on camera, and he always moves out of frame.
I don't. I stay exactly in frame for that camera, right dead centre for the window.
Frame from there.
I'm right in frame. I'm actually
He's perfectly in frame. He's about that big.
He's a hobbit.
He's the hamster in frame. The rat is. I'm afraid we can't see your rat.
Well, I think that could be a blessing.
Anyway, this is the movie cast.
I think this is just podcast. We need to get back into
it's a random
cast. Of doing a podcast. So we'll kick things off with you can tell us about what movie you saw this evening.
So I went to watch The Equalizer 2
Dose
this evening.
I have seen The Equalizer 1. Have you seen?
I don't even know what it is, and I feel somewhat ashamed. I feel like I should do. Yeah,
it's Denzel Washington basically replaying the character from an old, is it 80s TV series, The Equalizer, with Edward Woodward.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that was the TV series.
Iwa.
Yeah, exactly. So and Denzel Washington has kind of taken on the character for the first movie and the second movie. The first movie was good.
I really enjoyed the first one.
It was good. It had a lot of elements that were cool.
What's the synopsis of it then? What actually is it?
So he's an ex-CIA guy.
He's an ex-spook.
Yeah.
Whose role in life was to solve...
You're going to sit on the dinosaur bean bag?
Solve problems. I think that, and because there's mention that he was a member of a team.
He was a member of a team, and then he kind of
he's the last one, isn't he?
Well,
All right, in the first one, he's the last one.
So yeah, but what happens is the story goes is that he was killed, but basically went underground and kind of went off the grid.
Which thing is generally how.
Yeah, and he stays off the grid until basically some prostitute gets beaten up by some
until
Russian
he meets
gangsters.
Hit Girl.
Yeah.
Who is a prostitute.
She's a prostitute, and she gets beaten up by some Russians.
12-year-old dressed in purple. Kick-Ass, it's the only reference to Hit Girl I know. No,
It
is Hit Girl, isn't it?
Yeah,
Good
it is.
film though, Kick-Ass. Yeah. We'll bring it on later.
Which either I can tell you my Hit Girl story now, or I can tell you it later.
I'm going to finish
Do it
the
now,
Equalizer thing so we
we're
don't
on
go off on too many tangents.
Kevin Smith is doing 4 issues of a Hit Girl comic book. He announced yesterday.
He's also doing some big new movie. He's got his biggest budget film
movie
He
ever.
won't tell us what it is.
Kevin Smith hasn't done wonderful stuff for quite a long time.
He's not.
What was the one with his daughter in?
Yoga Hoses.
Yoga, that was not a good film.
Loved it. It was brilliant.
Oh no. Ow.
It's got Kevin Conroy in. What more do you want?
That's a very low bar for entry. It has Kevin Conroy in it.
We're good. I know nothing about Yoga Hoses.
Did he just say that?
He
Watch
did.
it again.
He did.
It's better the second time.
People have said this to me. They said that about. No, I'm not going to go there. But
I can't defend
They said
Tusk,
that now.
and I won't try. But Red State, teen suspense horror movie that every time you think you know what's going to happen, the opposite happens. Oh, that person's going to die. Oh, no, they didn't. Oh, that person will definitely survive. Oh, they're dead. Oh, that's the main character. No, they're not. They're dead.
I think me and you are going to come to blows. I've always found that Kevin Smith was very patchy in general. It's like for every Morax there was a Chasing Amy.
Yeah, but I like the early stuff. So the Equalizer.
So, yeah,
Having a chase Amy.
He always
I've
brings
never-
it up.
I
Yeah,
do.
that-
I don't
this
like
has come
Chasing
up
Amy, it's
before.
rubbish.
I watched it once and
And you forgot about it, which is the correct
I
response.
have really enjoyed it right up until the moment she turned around and went off with him, and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, ruined it. I love the idea of being rejected, and that was great. But
So
anyway,
the Equalizer then.
yeah,
Or the Equalizer 2 specifically.
Yeah, Equalizer 2. So anyway, the first one is he goes against the Russian mafia and he wins, and that's what
Spoilers.
happens. Yeah. In the second one,
Spoiler free, because I do intend to watch.
okay, spoiler free.
Or a little bit spoiler free.
It's hard. You can't really make it spoiler free. And
How
give it a
about
review.
this? Let's cut through the bullshit. How about this? Let's make it real easy.
Was it any good?
Can you score it out of 10 just for Sam? 0.5 is okay.
Out of 10,
0.5's okay. Look at his face.
maybe.
I think
Did
Did you say
I think-
7.5?
No,
7.5.
I think I'll go with a 6 out of 10,
Also known as a 3 out of 5.
which is what I'd give it. I'd give it a 3 out of 5. Only because
Better or worse than the
there's
first
a
one?
few things that I don't like. Firstly, I feel that the composer of the soundtrack has been super lazy and just taken the first soundtrack and put it onto the second movie.
It's a really
So,
weird
that-
criticism.
Yeah, I find that a bit annoying. It's something that irritates me.
I have to admit, I rarely notice
I
film
kind of have to agree with
soundtracks.
it.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of film soundtracks, and I like the Equalizer soundtrack. It's kind of cool, and it's literally the same soundtrack on the second film, which
That is lazy.
Yeah, but
I was
to
a
be
bit surprised.
fair,
Yeah, I find it a
Star
bit lazy.
Wars has the same song all the way through.
That's
Indiana Jones has the same.
a leitmotif.
Yeah, it's different. That's got a theme. See, it's got
okay.
themes.
But the idea is you come back to the same theme and you just, you do it in different ways. And you
Exactly, they do
Well,
it in
it's
Harry
exactly-
Potter as well.
so
but
if it
if
was
you listen to those
musicals
soundtracks,
from-
there are subtle differences.
Yeah.
There obviously are subtle differences, but it sounded very similar to the point where the tracks are almost in the same place.
Yeah. We're going
So-
from leitmotif to just cut and paste.
Yeah, that's what it felt like anyway. So that was one thing that annoyed me. Secondly,
Okay.
it turns into, whereas before it was like him versus the mafia and that he wasn't a government agent and nobody was involved. That's fine. This time around, it's more him versus the government, and we've it kind of took away some of what made him cool, I suppose.
Because it was very believable.
Yeah, and now it's...
In the first one, he works, again, spoilers, whatever.
Yeah, he works
in a hardware store.
Yeah.
And, like...
This time around he's an Uber driver.
He just keeps taking things from the hardware store, using them in, like, some horrible death.
Yeah,
and then putting them back.
So there were less of the horrible deaths. And he's an Uber driver, which was kind of cool. And there were some
So it brings it up to date.
there were some underlying storylines which were kind of cool. They were a bit predictable, whereas it was less predictable, I felt, in the first. It starts off quite strong. I was like, cool, he's going to do his watch thing. I mean, he does it a couple of times, but it just wasn't as good. Maybe because we've seen it. I think the coolest scene in it is there's a fight scene in his Uber.
Which is in the trailer.
Which is pretty cool. That's a good scene, though. But otherwise, it was alright. I was waiting for a bit. I don't know.
It sounds to me like I don't need to go to the cinema to see this.
I was just about to say. I was
awed by the first one only because I think I wasn't expecting it particularly. I didn't really read any reviews on it, and I happened to be at the cinema, and it was on, and I was like, oh well, I'll go and do a mega watch and watch a few things, and The Equalizer was the last one I watched, and I really liked it. This time around, I just wasn't as keen. So yeah, sorry folks if you're itching to go see it. It's okay. It's just not as good as the first.
You're still itching to go see it. Go see it.
And just listen to the soundtrack for the first one if you're into the soundtracks, because I'm pretty sure it's the same.
That'll be the mission. If you're going to go see it, watch the first one, listen to the music, and go see it.
I reckon, actually, what I think you could do is put your Spotify on, listen to the Equalizer soundtrack from the first movie while watching the second movie, and I bet if you take your headphones off, the same track will be playing. That is your challenge, people.
That playing, Pink Floyd or something.
That is your challenge. So answers on a postcard if you manage to pull that off.
Leave your comments at the bottom.
Yeah. So that's my Equalizer thing done.
Is there actually anything else out at the cinema at the moment, or is it just kind of
The Meg.
The shark one?
Yes.
He loved it.
I watched The Meg.
He loved it.
I
thought it was great.
I think it looked entertaining.
I worry that it might not be stupid enough.
Oh, it's pretty foolish.
It does.
No,
He told me how it ends, and I'm like, really?
The thing is, it's got a giant shark and Jason Statham, so we're already like, this is excellently low. This is as low as we can
whatever you're expecting, that's what it's going to be.
Is it as stupid as Crank 2?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's even got mini submarines that are like spaceships. They maneuver like X-wings. It's
I
awesome.
consider Crank 2 to be the apex of stupid. There is no film stupider than Crank 2.
And it's another film where I want to give you some cool spoilers to just explain the stupidness of it, but I'm not going to. You just watch it. It's funny, and there's going to be a sequel.
Of course.
Oh jeez.
Statham's already said they're up for a sequel, and it's done pretty well at the box office.
Right,
as well.
if Sharknado can make 5 films and a 6th in development now,
Exactly.
then I think the Meg deserves at least one sequel.
If its only competition is a somewhat mediocre sequel, then maybe the Meg, maybe it has made some pretty good money.
Yeah, it's done alright. It's done alright at the box office so far.
It's probably done better than Solo, which is
It's
kind
probably
of
because everyone's
Solo in the end
"Ah,
did okay though,
Statham,
as we
and
established
Sequel."
last. I mean, it lost money, but
lost money on a Star Wars film is pretty piss poor, to be honest.
I think that's down to the 97 different directors it went through.
Oh yeah. You had a very troubled.
Had a troubled past.
Interestingly, on the Star Wars front, films have been very quiet. There's no talk about.
Well, I've heard they might be cancelling some of the extended.
Yeah,
Oh no, Disney have been very open about the
Have
fact
they?
that they are binning off.
Yeah.
Like
I know they were binning off the
60%.
Obi-Wan.
They were gonna do a TV series that was gonna be set on Tatooine.
Yeah.
Gone. Binned
Yeah,
it.
I think the Boba Fett series is gone.
Yeah.
The Obi-Wan movie is probably.
It's kind
gone.
of a shame, as out of all of them, I think Boba Fett and Obi-Wan could have actually been an interesting.
Yeah, I
Far
think
more
so.
so than Han
Yeah, but
Solo.
they were talking about getting Ewan McGregor back. He hasn't paid for his crimes from the first 3.
You know what?
I didn't think he was.
I was
too
going to
bad.
say,
You watch what you say.
Ewan McGregor was fine. There's
Oh,
only so
no
much
way.
you can
Do
do.
we need to take this outside?
I'm not saying
His
that the
Alec
prequels
Guinness
were
was
good.
fine.
I'm saying that he was
His
fine.
Alec Guinness was alright.
It was. I agree.
Yeah. How bad? I mean,
Don't look at me, I'm on their side. I had nothing
Ed,
against Qui-Gon.
Ewan McGregor was
Ed,
the least.
get the shovel.
Ewan McGregor was the least of the prequels.
Yeah,
probably.
exactly.
They
The
were
prequels
the
were
only
hot
same-
I'm
garbage.
gonna say they are not down to the fact that Ewan McGregor was a poor Obi-Wan. That is, if anything, Obi-Wan
There's only
probably
so
made more
much you can
interesting.
do when you're
And
given
you
a script like
call
that. I'm
yourself
sorry.
fans.
Yeah.
I don't call myself a fan.
I do.
now.
But I will
I'm
say
amazed.
that, Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan was fine.
Yeah, I
Compared to,
I'm with them. I agree with them.
well,
I had
when you're
nothing
given that
against
sort of
them.
hot garbage,
Or
well,
CGI
listen, it's like we
Yoda.
know Natalie Portman can act. We've seen her in other films where she can act. Yet in the prequel, she was fucking dreadful.
Yes.
So we have to assume that the quality of the script was so bad, she looked at it and thought, there's nothing I can do with this.
Obviously,
Yeah,
Hayden
yeah.
Christensen,
No, I agree
or
with
whatever his name is, worst casting in the world.
Who's
Just
that?
Hayden Christensen, or whatever it is.
But can he? I don't know. I've not seen him in anything else. I don't know.
That's
I
because he
saw.
hasn't done anything.
He did. He's
He
done
did
one
Jumper.
film. Yeah,
Jumper.
Jumper.
And actually, I
And he's
quite like
done
Jumper.
nothing since.
No, that's true.
He's on the list of actors who have real jobs.
Jake Lloyd obviously went full on wacky after.
Yeah, well, he got bullied, didn't he?
Because he's
Well,
been
he got massively bullied.
he's been
Like arrested or something.
horrifically bullied
Who's
as a
Jake Lloyd?
child.
Jake Lloyd was
The young Anakin.
The
Yeah,
first
yeah.
Anakin.
Oh yeah, but he took himself out of the whole cinematic.
He did,
crap.
but he went to crime.
And he's now
stuff, all.
got. I googled him the other week because we watched him out of boredom, and he's apparently got
No,
schizophrenia.
Ed, you did what? You know, yeah.
He was watching the second one when we turned up at his house.
I know,
Yeah.
but why?
Because Kaylee has never watched any of them, and if
And she hadn't watched them this time round. She actively said, "I'm not watching."
The thing is, I'm saying, oh, you know what? I've never seen my grandma hit by a van. You know, I don't need to see it. It's fine. I can make it.
Well, yeah, there is that, I suppose.
I think coming from that side, it would be more likely to be Ed saying, "Hey, have you ever seen your granny hit by a van? Look out the window."
So, yeah.
But no one needs to say, oh, you know what we should watch? You know what we should watch? The Phantom Menace. No.
Yeah, that shouldn't be something people say.
No,
No,
issue
I
putting on in the background.
There was a point in time where I went through that. Maybe it wasn't that bad, and watched it again.
Please tell me.
I will say, I would-
Jar Jar was actually a compelling and
I
well-written character.
cried.
I would rather
Fair.
watch The Phantom Menace than I would Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
The Phantom Menace is unabashed shit kids film. It's a kids film and it's shit. Whereas Attack of the Clones doesn't know who the fuck it's aimed at.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, it's you know, darker and stuff.
As I've
It's just-
said,
it's
and I said it
all over
to
the
you, I said it to you
place.
the other day. That film
That trilogy is
was
amazing.
immediately written off when they did the pear scene.
Oh, yeah, the floating pear.
Yeah, ruined the whole thing. My personal thought on that is it's
gotta be
R2's bloody ability to fly so
Of course, and gets
greatest
everywhere.
plot hole ever.
Yeah.
Yep, lost that later on, didn't he?
Yeah, odd that, innit?
Yeah, it was. Like I just said, it's a terrible trilogy.
It's like when people talk about how bad, you know, like The Last Jedi was. It was bad and it had a lot of problems. So, oh, you know, maybe the prequels are better. No.
No, they're
No,
not.
let's have some standards here.
Yeah, I know.
What is your beef with The Last Jedi then?
Do we want to go into it here? It's,
Kind of a little.
I think it's a complete mess of a film.
You see, I think they did it a
Compared to
It
The
took a
Force
while.
Awakens.
I didn't mind the Force Awakens.
I would say The
I
Force
like-
I thought
Awakens
The
is-
Force Awakens was awful.
See, I didn't
in
mind that.
comparison.
I would say The Last Jedi made me think better of the of Episode 7 retrospect.
Yeah, the problem with Force Awakens was it was a reboot of Episode
It's
4.
boring, but
Yeah.
at least it makes sense. Whereas The Last Jedi is just full of completely nonsensical things happening for nonsensical.
I would agree with
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it's weird.
There was
Even
bits in that film where
yeah,
it was
it was
like,
like-
and it just felt like it was so
like
long
where
because they kept
It
doing
is
that
really
thing
long.
where,
It's 2.5 hours
where
long.
they kept going, oh, we've nearly done it. Oh no, we didn't do it. Okay, we need to try something else. Let's try something else. Oh, we're going to do this
Yeah, the
instead.
thing that
Oh,
was-
we know we
Yeah,
played.
It's the
Storyline-
world's slowest chase scene
the
for the
storyline-
whole movie.
The storyline that got me in that was the storyline with Finn, where he had to go aboard the Star Destroyer to do X, Y, and Z. But nothing actually happened. He didn't even
Well,
achieve his objective.
all of Finn and
Plus that
what's
entire
what's her
film.
name? The lady he's with all the way through.
Yeah,
I can't remember her name.
the Chinese girl.
Yeah, Chinese
what's she
lady.
called? I can't think of what she's called.
But the whole thing on the casino planet was
Yeah.
just a complete waste of time. So
Yeah.
what's the 45 minutes?
Harry
Yeah.
Potter. It was Harry Potter. That point, if you go back and watch that point, the music's Harry Potter. The animals are Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It was a Harry Potter
Even when-
section.
Even
of a
when
film.
they, you know, when they let all the animals go at the end and they're like, it made it all worth it. It's like, they're just going to get caught and put back into a pen.
They're not leaving the planet. They're not getting onto spaceships and go, see ya.
See, my only fatal thing I really don't like in that is the fact that the purple-haired woman has a wonderful plan that is actually going to work, and at no point did she think of just telling the one pillar who is going to ruin the plan, it's okay, I have a fucking plan. The whole thing is
Yeah,
her
the other
fucking
thing
fault.
is-
Even then, he
What?
says like, oh, we can't chase them. We have to chase them really slowly. It's like,
She
you've got
more about the
hyperspace.
missions and
Just
feeling like a
walk in
hero.
front of
The
them.
other thing that got me as well was that they hyperspaced through the
The hy-
Star Destroyer. So why don't X-wings just have missiles?
The
with
hyperspace,
small
the hyperspace
hyperdrives on
ram
them
breaks
and do
the
that
universe.
every time.
It's like, why do you have a Death Star when you've got a hyperspace ram? There's
exactly.
no reason to construct this. It's so incredibly, ridiculously powerful. I remember they say you can put an unmanned you can put, an X-wing's got a hyperdrive.
Yeah, exactly. Got a hyperdrive in it with a
Or
droid
just
and
put
just
a
fire it through a
hyperdrive
planet.
on a missile.
Yeah.
Well, put anything
Like I
inside
just
a
said.
decent asteroid and then have it collide with a planet, you cause an ice age. What better way to kill off a planet?
But
Wow.
it's just, I don't know, it's just broke the universe, man.
There's loads of bits about it,
Yeah.
but I felt the ending was quite a redeeming feature because all the way
Is it
through I
ended?
thought this is
What, the
Credits had rolled.
No, I meant the
Shots
whole
fired.
Snoke.
Blasters
What
shot
happened to
fired.
their emperor? I don't want to do spoilers too much, but
I feel like
every
we would
fucker should have
pass
seen
on.
it.
I feel like
Everybody's
anyone who
seen
cares about The Last
Yeah.
Jedi has probably
We've
seen it
seen
by
it.
now.
Snoke Stefan things. I was thinking all the way through. Okay, so she's on a barren planet with a master. She's learning. Okay, this seems very much like Episode 5. Now they're on a very barren planet with the walker things coming out the base. That's very Episode.
Well, that's
Loads of it was Episode 5.
yeah, but the same
that
as
changed
Force
over.
Awakens was
But
episode
even then,
4.
it's like,
It was.
I bet you were
Right.
thinking that something interesting would happen with Snoke. Psych, with nothing interesting is going to happen. Bet you weren't expecting that. So you're correct. I was not
I
expecting.
did quite like the
And that's
fight.
the
I did
thing.
quite like that fight
That
scene.
does sustain.
When the
Alright,
two
the
of them
first
were
one,
killing the red
complete
dots, I quite like
remake. Second one, very similar, but that has now made whatever they're doing with the third one.
Yeah?
It
I
can't
probably
be
thought
a
Ray
remake.
had an interesting past, but I thought something interesting was going to happen. Nope, too bad.
Your parents
She's
are
just
garbage.
she's just
They
a
abandoned you for drinking money. Oh, what a line! It's like,
Yeah, she's just a random person.
The problem
Yeah.
is that episode 9. Who's picking up the slack? Who's doing episode 9?
I have no idea.
Because
JJ.
Is it?
JJ.
Is he gone
Is
back?
it?
To, I couldn't remember. I
Wow.
can't remember.
He's got a tough time because basically they've left that one in a complete state for him to pick up.
Yeah.
Oh, fair. You see, I had nothing against.
I'm sure we'll bring
Episode
that
7
back.
left all of these dangling threads, which is the right way to do things. Episode 8 then basically just said, oh, I know those dangling threads. Cut them all off.
These are concluded now.
These are all
This
concluded
guy's
in a
dead.
really
That
boring
person's
shit way.
dead.
And then-
These guys are dead. These guys are traitors. Oh, we killed the main bad guy, and the Empire are kind of winning. Oh, okay, good luck.
But they are the spark that shall ignite the fire of the rebellion that shall
Bring back
burn
Lando,
down
I
the
say.
Empire or whatever.
Bring back Lando.
Wasn't he supposed to be in the next one?
I believe so.
They're suggesting he might be.
Yeah, there is a
How the remnants of the Empire. Presumably they are the remnants of the Empire. How the fuck have they got all this shit? So why is the Republic just let
Plenty
them
of
get
wedge.
away with it?
Plenty of
See,
wedge.
but this is the problem of Disney scrapping the entire
Extended universe.
extended universe
Yeah, yeah.
because it was all explained as
That
to
is actually
because
very
what had
good.
happened is when there was a peace treaty made and the Empire got to keep part of the universe which was the Empire.
Is this
And
in
that's-
the Empire, those books?
Yeah, and that's how they gradually start to, a bit like the Nazis, they gradually build up their weaponry and then they launch a final attack. But because they've scrapped all of that, now the Empire just, or the 51st, whatever they're called, are they just turn up
But
and they've got
this
tons of kit.
you've got this massive armada, like far more so than apparently the Republic who are in charge.
Yeah,
And no one's
exactly.
thought, maybe we should stop that. Maybe we should stop them building all of those weapons.
Yeah,
Especially
yeah.
that giant super weapon that could blow up loads of planets. I'm not
Yeah,
so
it
keen
was
on
it
that
was a
all.
bit that
See,
was a
that-
bit shit
that's
because
why
that never happened in the
It took
expanded
from
universe.
Anakin's being a child, growing up, into Darth Vader. I mean, that's 60 years for a Death Star to be partially completed and the full one being complete. And now they turn an entire planet into one in less time. That's a big gap for me. The actual planet killer base is way bigger.
I'm less bothered about that than a lot of the very
we're
big
going to
problems.
pull apart the fact they've got an armada, but we're not going to question construction times. Come on.
Remember, they've made 2 fucking Death Stars already. Because Return of the Jedi, they were like, I can't think of something for this. So George Lucas was like, let's do another Death Star, mate. You're right.
But we'll have-
But
Well,
what I want to
half of
talk
it
about,
off.
what I want to talk about is the guys constructing that second Death Star because they were deep in construction and that stuff's been found out in it. And then when they destroyed it, all those contractors.
Yeah, that's true. And nobody points. No, I think people fail to realise
quote
that
Clerks.
the actual rebellion, they're actual terrorists.
Yeah, they are terrorists.
Because the Empire is where the law and order is, and then these rebels go and blow shit up and kill thousands of people. On the
I think I was
Death Star.
talking to you about Rambo 3 the other week, and it's dedicated to the noble freedom fighters of the. Well, it doesn't say Taliban, is what they were previously.
No, they're the Taliban. They're Rambo 3. The
That's a weird
good
one,
guys. The freaking Taliban.
Yeah, but the point is that one man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist, and all it takes is for a change in public opinion.
You know, we're probably going to get sued by Disney now.
Why?
So only if they
Because
hear.
we've just said that
Disney
one of their
don't
cash
care.
cows is actually terrorism.
But, Disney aren't so petty they'll go after, YouTubers for saying naughty things. They're not Nintendo. So.
Yeah, they were.
Shots fired all over the place today. I'm like, come on, bitches!
Wow, it must be the late hour of the podcast that's brought out the beast in everyone.
But what the bitches?
Some just gets more full of rage as the day goes on.
I think I'm a natural bitch, and it just comes out more later on.
I hide it less I get more tired, and I can't hide it as much as the day goes on.
There, it's on the podcast.
Fucking hell.
Oh, I'm glad I took us on that little Last Jedi tangent.
So, speaking of movies, Sam,
Green Lantern.
Sam, have you seen any good films recently?
No, because I saw the second Pacific Rim film.
That was such a quality film where he goes home to meet the wife and it's a kaiju brain.
I didn't love the first Pacific Rim. I think it had its moments.
Sorry, spoilers for anyone who really cares about them.
So Pacific Rim, the first one,
It
has no
moments.
connection to Evangelion in any way, shape or form, because the guy that directed it has never seen Evangelion. He doesn't even know what it is. Never heard of the thing.
That's interesting.
Obviously, it's got giant robots and
Yeah.
giant aliens, and the giant robots fight the giant
I
aliens.
know.
I'm not sure.
I was gonna say,
No
I know
connection.
Evangelion thing has giant robots. Does it have giant monsters?
Well,
If there are angels in that.
but they are giant monsters.
There are giant monsters from space called angels.
Excellent.
So hang on, they named it after the heavenly body. Then they thought, let's call it an angel. Now
No,
let's kill
by
it.
when I say angels, I mean they're literally angels.
And humanity thought, I'm going to kill that.
It's
Go-
never really explained.
go
Oh, good. Right.
Evangelion is mad as a box of frogs, so it's
Right.
probably we'll leave that
Great
box closed
for
for
it.
now.
So the second one, bear in mind that we've never based the first one on Evangelion. The second one is definitely not based on any films relating to Evangelion in any way, shape or form. It's just there's a film called The End of Evangelion that's got these like drone angels, like the drones, and they come along. And in the second Pacific Rim, there's like these drone robots.
The big robots that are sort of being controlled by bits of angels. Almost like they're drones.
In fairness, it's very different tonally to End of Evangelion, because End of Evangelion is good, for one thing. And Pacific Rim Uprising is
full bitch today.
utter, what's the word, dog shit. That's the word.
Right now, I said to you that I watched it, and I don't want to say that on my recommendation you then went and watched it. I said to you, do you want to see a film that's got terrible acting? Bear in mind it's got Finn in.
It has, yeah.
Do you want to see a film that's
He's
got
not a bad actor.
terrible acting in? No.
The guy from.
Do you want to see a
John
film
Ford
that's got a story that
from
you've
Star Wars.
already seen? No. Do you want to see a film that's got giant robots fighting other giant robots? Yes. And if you could remove, because that's the same with all these films. The bit that you actually want to see, the robots fighting the robots, the
It
robots
does have
fighting
some
the
good
monsters.
biscuit tinning, I will say that.
All of that stuff's great.
Biscuit
It's
tinning is when giant
just
robots
the
fight giant
rest.
robots, and it sounds like people smacking two biscuit tins together.
It was my
Which
argument
I
with
saw the
Transformers,
trailer
the
for
best
Godzilla
advertising plot in the
this
world,
week.
which was a giant robot waving a sword, riding a giant robot dinosaur breathing fire. I mean, that would sell any film to anybody.
I saw
Who
the
doesn't want to
Godzilla
see
trailer this week.
I mean, we
The
could
new
always
one.
have a conversation about Bumblebee because that looks
Oh.
awesome.
The thing is, I'm a big fan of Godzilla, so the new Godzilla trailer, I'm not going to lie, it did get me, at least halfway there.
Oh, okay.
So,
A little bit
I've
of
never really
no,
been-
just half a tea
Yeah, I'm
cake.
not really a Godzilla King
a
Kong
nubbin,
person.
some might say.
Is this a
Didn't do
follow-up
anything
to
for me.
the Godzilla
No?
film and
Nah.
the Skull Island, Kong
Kong Skull
Island?
Island. Actually, I quite enjoyed Kong Skull Island. I thought it was quite good fun. I didn't enjoy the 2014 Godzilla.
It's got a fucking great soundtrack.
Which one?
Skull Island
Oh, Skull Island.
got a fantastic
I watched it
soundtrack.
Oh, okay.
once.
It's
I didn't-
alright.
I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. I actually
Yeah, I
preferred
didn't
the
get
King
around
Kong
to
film they did with Jack Black in. I think they did that film really
Well, that was
well.
Peter Jackson. That
Yeah.
it's about 5 hours long, though.
It is,
Yeah,
but it was
it's
very good. Visuals were great, and the actual emotion they put in the monkey was fantastic.
Again, Skull
Hey,
Island, take the humans out of it and you've got a great film. In those films, I don't care about the story, I don't
The thing
care
is,
about
all
the
the best
It's a bit like
all the best
Transformers.
Godzilla
You
films
don't
Yeah.
have
do.
humans in Transformers.
They do have a decent story going on, but it should never be the focus.
The focus should be the giant lizard.
Fundamentally, why are we here to see? We're here to see Godzilla fight another monster. We're not here for human drama.
Oh, but is he going to get back to his dad? I don't give a shit.
And those two going to get together at the end of it.
I don't.
You're ruining
care.
the monster fighting. Yeah.
Day After Tomorrow. Great disaster film. Couldn't give a shit about the people in it.
The fucking
It's got the slowest tidal wave in history, though. The tidal wave in the day after tomorrow.
You know what that brings us to as well? That brings us fully circled round to Green Lantern.
It really
I don't know if I really want to have this conversation.
It was amazing just how that went perfectly onto the topic.
I just
Most tidal wave in the world, terrible casting.
Because tidal, you know why? Because tidal wave begins with T.
I cannot.
And they cast
You know what else it begins with T? Tenuous. And here we are.
I can't talk about it without making me Sam level angry.
Wow.
I'm not angry.
I'm
just disappointed.
I'm just disappointed and angry.
At the new casting. I don't know.
So Sam, why don't you ask James who the forerunner to play Green Lantern in the standalone Green Lantern movie is?
I guessed it based on a fan.
I don't know this, so I will genuinely.
So you should ask. You should ask the question.
Can I give you clues?
Before you do, think about who would be the worst possible person to play that role.
But it's not Nick.
Can I give him the clue? All I want to do is start bouncing up and down on his sofa, screaming I love someone, followed by a sentence, I'm not gay.
It's not Tom Cruise.
There you go.
Really?
There it is.
Oh my! Really?
The
Yes.
forerunner to play Green Lantern in the standalone Green Lantern movie is Tom Cruise.
Why though?
I tagged him on Facebook with this information, and my quote, what I said was, "This could be the worst idea I've ever heard in my life."
That's a terrible casting.
I was really surprised because it
He's
just,
like a million years old for one thing.
it's
Way
just
too
not
old.
a Tom Cruise movie.
Too short, not his sort of film.
Yeah, it's not his
Terrible
sort of film
actor.
thing that
He's
gets
not.
me.
No, he's not a terrible actor. That's not fair.
No, he
No.
is these days.
No, I don't
I
agree.
disagree. I think Tom Cruise has been in some good films over
I
the
don't
years.
If we're
agree
going to
with
start, if we're going to have the
He is, but
conversation,
these days.
who should play Green Lantern? The answer is quite simple. Nathan Fillion.
He's too old. Nathan Fillion is really getting on now.
Yeah.
Did you see the fan-made Uncharted movie?
Again,
Nathan
he's fine,
Fillion.
but he's fine playing super old Nathan Drake. But for Green Lantern, I do think you probably need someone a bit younger than him or Tom Cruise, as they're both, getting on a bit.
See, my knowledge of Green Lantern is a bit lacking. I know there's a white version, I know there's a black version. Which one would you want to see? Because I'll be honest, we've had the Black Panther. I kind of think
I have
that
to
they would.
admit, I'm most
surprised they
familiar.
haven't gone down the black route on this, just to get more of these sort of things.
I'm more familiar with
Less
John.
people know John Stewart though. You're going to say you
I'm
know
more
John
familiar
Stewart
with him
more,
from the,
but you know him from the Justice League
correct, yeah.
cartoon and things like that. But
Hal Jordan is sort of the obvious
Hal
one.
Jordan, Kyle Rayner.
Yeah, I mean I know those ones as well, but I'm more familiar with the cartoons than I am the comics. So.
Kyle Rayner, I'm pretty sure a comic book artist turned Green Lantern. Pretty sure that's the storyline on that one. Hal Jordan, fighter
Bit of
pilot.
self-inserting going on there.
John Stewart, engineer.
Wow.
They all have to have a certain type of mind.
Right.
They have to have a creative mind.
But I would go with. I mean,
I
John
could
Stewart
do Green
would be a
Lantern.
nice.
The premise of the Will Ring is it's whatever you see in your mind, you can be generated.
I just end up
So you
making
have to
bottles
have
of
the-
whiskey.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm
Imagination.
honestly shocked that DC haven't given up on this.
Bottle of beer, excellent. Pint of Guinness, excellent. This isn't helping.
Right.
Because I know we've got
Chicken
Aquaman.
and mushroom
That
slice.
doesn't look super good.
I've not seen the trailers for it, but I think they've done a good job with Aquaman, considering what a superhero he probably
Can we
would
call
be.
him by his actual name, please, on this show, which is Gay Fish Cracker?
I might have to agree.
Fish jokes. All I ever get is fish jokes.
I might have to agree with Ed on this one. I think that Jason Momoa is quite a good casting for Aquaman. And I think he plays it the way it should be played, tongue in cheek and laughing his ass off the whole way through it.
It is. I will admit he's a solid Aquaman. Which you're never going to get.
It looks a bit like DC's version of Thor.
Yeah.
That's how it feels.
Man, you know what? It might be good. It might be okay. If we talk about the DC films, they've all been fucking rubbish, and they've just been variable. Wonder Woman was a fairly solid film.
That was okay. Yeah. Still the boss
It's
fight.
not amazing, but
It
it's
wasn't as good as it was reviewed.
I'm not a lover of Wonder Woman, but
I liked it till the
not
boss fight
massively
and
keen on the
all
Black
boss
Panther
fights.
film because I
Said this
dislike the
before.
concept of anything hiding behind an invisible barrier and no one ever discovering it by accident. I just dislike
yeah,
that
I can
premise.
see that. They've got the whole, I don't know, it's always been Wonder Woman's thing. So.
Yeah, but I just don't like it.
I
I don't
think it's
care
the
for
best
Wonder Woman
DC
as a
film.
concept though either.
I would probably have to agree with that.
And it's mostly that Amazonian thing, and yet she does seem to be wearing star-spangled stripes and banner.
Yeah, I can't.
And you got the Justice League film, which quality is all over the place. Some parts are really cool, and some parts are just rubbish.
I watched it the other day. I still really like it.
It's not, like I said, it's not horrible.
Yeah. Again, not like it was reviewed.
It's not Batman vs Superman, which is a complete train wreck.
So,
Yeah, I'm gonna have
coming
to
back
watch
to
that.
Green Lantern, and you're saying why don't they just leave it alone? My point would be, the Green Lantern makes itself because they can literally just make a carbon copy of Hal Jordan's origin
Yeah,
story.
I would like a Green Lantern film, especially if they do it properly. Because I mean, we haven't had a Green Lantern film. I'm sure of this.
Yeah,
That
like,
film they
think
did
about it,
have
like
because it
Deadpool getting a.
Die Hard,
Timeline's been erased.
Die
that's
Hard
true, yeah.
1, 2, and 3, and there are no more Die Hard films, and they never made a Green Lantern.
No, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were
So,
going to, but it kept
it
getting
could be
pulled.
good. I'm just surprised DC haven't thought maybe to cut the losses and maybe start again. Because this universe is already a bit off to a shaky start.
Yeah, that's
So I thought they
right.
I don't know what
might.
you're on about. They're going to do a standalone Batman film that they're not really sure what they're doing with. They're going to
As
do
a Ben
two
Joker movie with two different Jokers.
with two completely different
Hey,
Jokers.
So they'll do a lesson.
So, what-
What's the second?
Joaquin
Phoenix.
Phoenix.
What?
Really?
Yeah.
Who comes up with this shit?
Yeah, they've been trying to do. I think they're on
How
the
hard is
ninth
this?
attempt to do the Flash
Make
movie.
a Batman film with Batman. This isn't that hard. They made loads of Batman films, and most of them have been pretty decent.
Yeah.
And
I would
it's
argue
a
we've done a better. We've had more good Batman films than bad Batman films. And
I would-
that's
I would
that's
agree
not
with
bad.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You
Considering how
can't
many
make
there
a
are.
Joker film.
Well, he's
The best thing about the
you
Joker
can.
is the fact you have no knowledge of his past in these films. I know there's an actual background to him
Yeah,
in the
but-
comics, but it's actually
Is
the
there a
same-
background to him in the comics?
Yeah.
There's a background to him in the Jack Nicholson film specifically.
And there's a background to him in the animated series with The Killing Joke, which sort of
There's still not a background to him in
being
Gotham
a really
yet.
bad comedian.
Is that the Killing Joke cartoon?
Yeah. And that all...
Surprisingly adult Killing Joke cartoon.
It's a little bit racy
Yeah, it's a little bit spicy,
in places that.
And the
It's
joke at the end
spicy.
was actually terrible. Absolutely terrible.
I think again it feels like a film that it's about half an hour too long probably, but
Yeah. But that gives a background to him. But I don't regard those. If I watch the actual Batman film with Joker in, the best thing about him is the concept that he is just there for the purpose of causing shit.
is Ben Affleck still going to be Batman? Because I thought that was a
Well, he did say
For
there
the
was issue.
standalone Batman film, yes, he is, but he's not directing it now, so that's something.
Yeah, because
I think he was a good Batman.
I hate to
don't
say it,
I don't
had
mind
that
him as
wrench,
Batman.
man.
I like he was an old knackered, tired Batman.
Yeah,
I
I don't mind him
he
at all as
did,
Batman.
I didn't hate him as Batman in Justice League.
No, nor did I. I thought he was.
I didn't like him much as Batman in Batman vs Superman.
I'd
but
agree
that's
with that.
Purely because I hate the fact he fell in love with Superman over his mother's name. It's just a bit weird.
That whole
Why
film's
did you say
train
that
wreck,
name?
though.
It's my mother's name. Oh, I forgive everything.
That is kind of weird.
I mean, that's possibly the stupidest part of a very, very stupid film.
I mean, it does set up a premise. If any other bad guys in the city, even just muggers, find out what his mother's name is, all they have to say is Martha, and he'll go, "You know what, guy? You need the money more than I do. Go on, take you mugger. Go on, walk away." I just don't like it.
The thing is,
Why?
I would like to see DC make good films. This idea that you have to be completely partisan in comics is
just
completely
watch
insane.
Gotham. Watch Gotham. That's much better.
I still haven't given any of that a go yet.
No,
I'm
I
not
don't-
a fan of the Leto Joker
Yeah.
in any of it. So
Oh,
far.
Suicide Squad. Speaking of which,
Oh.
that was a piece of shit.
Isn't that there's a sequel for that in the
yeah,
film?
there's a sequel.
Is
It
That
did
is-
really well.
That is one of the worst films I've ever seen. That
Yeah,
is
the
on my
Harley-
list.
The Harley Quinn Deadshot
That's
show.
one of the worst films I've ever
It's
seen.
fucking dreadful, but it still did very well at the box office.
Yeah, it's entertaining. It's just shit.
I thought it. I actually going to say I think it was worse than Batman versus Superman.
It's one of
It's
the
a
worst films I've
complete
ever seen.
mess.
And almost
No,
the,
I really hate
almost the
Batman
sole
Superman.
reason for that was the Joker and Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
They ruined that film. Firstly, they should have made a decision which way Margot Robbie was going to play Harley Quinn, whether she was going to play Harley Quinn or a version of Harley Quinn, because apparently they couldn't decide through the entire process of that film.
The problem is that you've got Bruce Timm's Harley Quinn. It's just that's always going to be Harley Quinn to me.
Yeah.
Which one?
Bruce Timm from the animated series.
Animated series Harley Quinn.
Black and white actual Joker-esque.
Whoever's the voice actress
Says pudding a lot.
Yeah, whoever's the voice actress.
Hey, Mr. J!
Yeah, she's super
Right.
perfect. I'm assuming it's the same girl who was in the games as well.
Yeah.
So I looked this up.
the games
I
did
actually
look
looked this up the other
They really
day,
did, yeah.
and it's the same person that did the animated series as a lot of the Arkham games.
Yeah,
And
because
so
the Arkham
the
games had all
Joker ones
they got all
Hamill.
the because
Hamill's the Joker in that.
Mark
He was
Hamill,
great.
Kevin Conroy,
Yeah.
all your
And
all
they
your favourites.
voiced them really well. They did their parts really well.
Oh yeah, I mean,
And I like that interpretation of Harley Quinn. I think the Arkham games did a great job.
I like all of the
Yeah,
Arkham.
yeah,
the
the
Arkham
Arkham
Knight
games
has
are
its problems, but I think they're all
Does Arkham
enjoyable.
Knight have the
Yeah, I like
unique
the
death
Arkham
scenes for every single villain like the other ones?
I
I
can't
didn't play
remember.
Arkham Knight. If every time you die you got a different ending with a different villain basically gloating about the fact they killed you.
Oh yeah, you totally do.
And
Yeah.
Harley's is great because she just looks really sad about it. She's like, I did it, Mr. J. Are you proud of me? You just get this upward looking perspective of her. It's like,
Yeah.
are you sad about this? Are you happy? I can't tell what's going on. But that was one of my favourite things about the Arkham games. All of the bad guys got their little comeuppance. It was great. Except the Riddlers. What a twat. Sorry. Oh, yeah.
The whole point of the Riddler though is he's kind of lame.
Yeah.
It's genius, though.
Short
Super
of
genius.
putting Condiment Man into Batman films, they couldn't pick a word.
Calendar Man. Yeah, already there's a lot of lame
Condiment
Batman
Man, Calendar
villains.
Man. There is a long list of fucking terrible
Calendar
Batman
Man.
villains. Condiment Man was a thing.
I thought it was Condiment
Yeah.
King, but I might have
Sorry,
confused.
Condiment King. You might
Well,
be
which one was it that went over into the Tick? Because I'm pretty sure the Tick had a condiment one.
Oh, really?
No,
I've only just started watching that series on the live
Yeah,
animation, the live
Yeah.
like
I
version
quite
on
liked
Amazon.
that.
I watched the pilot,
I'm not sure if I'm keen.
and I wasn't
I watched the
because
first
I really liked the original live action, and I loved the cartoon.
The cartoon is
I'm
great.
very familiar with the cartoon.
I didn't get many laughs
I
from
didn't know there was an
the
original live
series,
action.
Nor did
whereas
I.
the cartoon makes me laugh.
There's an original live action.
Cartoon
Do
is
you
super
know
90s.
the person that voices Joe in Family
Yes.
Guy?
Peter.
He played the Tick in a live action version where
Oh,
Ron
yes.
Perlman is a bad guy in an episode.
Yeah, it's good.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Ron Perlman is a baddie, saying so.
I
Have
know.
you never
Oh.
seen Harvey Birdman?
Hannibal
Turning
Cat.
it law?
Yes, that's great.
You've been
great.
telling me to watch that for ages.
You need to watch
You,
that.
you do need to see it.
I
It is
tried
well
Boy.
watching one, I just for some reason didn't want to it, but I'm going to have to give it a proper go.
It's great. I mean, the pilot episode of that is Scooby Doo and Scrappy being pulled over in the mystery machine and having loads of weed.
Yeah,
Sea Lab is the other one.
So
the one I
Harvey
watched,
Birdman
it
has
was,
to get him off.
it was
The Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
what was it, Johnny
Space
Quest?
Ghost.
Johnny Quest, and it's the manservant who's basically fighting for custody of the children because the dad is really a
Yeah.
bad father
Oh,
and he's
yeah,
never around.
that's
And
one of those
Birdman's trying
episodes.
to get in custody. I fucking loved that. I did like it. I've not managed to watch it all. Great series.
Yeah, it's very funny. Which brings us on to Marvel, because obviously we just done DC, and the only thing I'll say is that Doctor Strange 2 started filming this week.
So you have some issues. Would you like to explain what these issues are?
Yeah, I feel they're
With the
massive
film, or just in general,
spoilers.
because we could be here for a
Right,
while.
so spoiler alert: Spider-Man 2 is pretty much ready to go. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 filming has kind of started.
Well, James Gunn presumably is out at all.
He's gone.
Doctor
Yeah,
Strange,
he's been
Doctor
fired.
Strange 2 started filming. Didn't all these characters die in the Avengers Infinity
No,
War?
because don't be stupid.
But shouldn't we have waited?
Well,
Shouldn't
they got into a lot of
shouldn't they have
trouble
kept
with
it
the
under
Guardians
wraps?
thing. They were, I think it was Chris.
Right.
Yeah, that'll do. I think he announced that Guardians 3 had started filming and got into a lot of trouble for
Who's going
it.
to be directing it? Because they were very much James Gunn films.
Yeah, they're trying to get him.
Especially the second
They're trying to get
one.
him
No,
reinstated.
the
aren't they?
Friday
Yeah,
was
they've
on
officially
Friday.
said that
because-
he's not doing it, but the
Yeah.
actors have had uproar. I mean,
Yeah,
They're
just-
talking about the script thing. Now, as I said to you, if they go with, we'll still use his script, they can just pay him for the script and it'll be like as if he got paid to direct the film. Because they'll be able to pay him a lot of money for the script.
The thing is, he still won't be directing it. There's a difference between a script and
yeah,
actually
he'll
doing it.
have a lot
Yeah.
of the elements. It just won't necessarily have his direction, as you say. But
I'd
rather they stick to a script and lose some of the direction.
I
If
didn't love
they
Guardians
if they
2
write it
anyway,
completely
but- I didn't.
as well.
I didn't like Guardians 2.
I've only ever watched it once.
Thor
and
Ragnarok is the good Guardians of the Galaxy too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Which I watched.
He goes full retard and just sticks with it.
Which I watched the other night. One of those things that
You don't go for
there's a great, if you watch the deleted, not the deleted, so the gag reel. There's a great bit in the gag reel that just makes me chuckle, and it's where Jeff Goldblum can make his ears wiggle, and then he can make them wiggle independently. Like, obviously he can make them wiggle side to side, but he can make one wiggle at a time and stuff. And he just stands at the keyboard thing and does his ear wiggling thing, and he's like, here, watch this, and he's like, and his ears are, and it just cracks me up. It's like, it's fucking
He's a
brilliant.
strange one. Oh,
Jeff Goldblum
Jeff
playing
Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
That's
How
great.
do you want me to play this? Can you Jeff Goldblum this role? Yes.
To be
But
fair, when
there
was
was,
the last time you saw Goldblum do anything other than himself?
One of my friends doesn't really like Thor Ragnarok. He says that Thor basically completely 180s his character in that film. And my response was, prior to that, Thor didn't have a character, and that was possibly part of the problem.
Yeah. And Chris Helmsworth said that himself. It was like, we really needed to overhaul that character, and that's exactly what we did. And that was largely what made that film great.
Yeah, it's a good film.
It's very it's very tonally consistent.
Yep.
It starts stupid, continues stupid, and ends stupid, which is exactly what I wanted.
It's brilliant.
Whereas Guardians 2 tries to have it all ways, and it doesn't really get away with it. It's a bit schmaltzy.
I didn't
like the bad guy premise. I didn't like the whole father thing. I didn't like loads of it.
No.
It seemed to be forcing a lot of the humour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
It was like it felt like it had to try way too hard.
And it doesn't feel like a film we should even have to try at all in some ways. Because like Guardians, the original Guardians was kind of a bit out of left field in some
Yeah,
ways.
it's cool. But then I think it's a bit of the equaliser syndrome, is that Guardians 1 was really good, so I think we expected more from 2, and that's what's happened tonight.
Yeah.
Equaliser 1 was really good, so I expected the same, and maybe it is good if you haven't seen the first one, but I have. Because it's a standalone
Well,
story.
then
Who would do that? I mean, if you check a percentage of people who've gone to the
No, I
to see
agree,
a
but I
film,
think that's the problem.
they haven't seen the first one.
For me, for Guardians, that was the part. I really enjoyed the first one, and it was really different. And the second one was kind of the same, but with a slightly shittier story.
And it was put in at the perfect time, because everything Marvel was doing was all based in
New York.
a realm of reality, in the sense that, you know, we're all on Earth, and we're stepping into robotic suits and with the God of Thunder and all that, but it came at the right time where we were like, let's just leave the planet. I think, is it the first Guardians or is it the most Avengers, the most recent Avengers, where it just puts space on the screen?
Yeah.
Because it tells you where they are at various points, and when the Guardians come, it just goes space. Right? Yeah, why not?
Yeah, exactly.
Space.
So we've got Spider-Man coming up. What else? I've not been keeping track really.
So Spider-Man, Guardians 3.
Bit
Miss
saturated.
Marvel's on the way.
Captain Marvel.
Yeah, Captain Marvel's on the way. Venom in October.
Yeah, that's obviously not part of the MCU though, is it?
It's
is
not.
it
We're
going
not
to
really
be-
sure.
Okay.
It's
Fox still trying? Surely not.
Is this Sony?
It's not Fox, is it?
It's not Fox.
Sony,
anymore.
sorry.
Is it Sony?
Sony was,
Is it Sony Venom?
Sony owns Spider-Man. doesn't
Yeah.
it?
They did. I don't know if they still do or not, because obviously
I think they
now put
officially
Spider-Man
do.
in.
They've lent the rights.
But this is something we've had a
Spider-Man.
chat about, is they're not connecting Venom to Spider-Man.
Well, we're not
They're
sure.
sort of
So
separating
they're
them
not
out.
putting the white
Yeah.
spider,
That part's true, but there's still
the white
this.
spider.
There's still this rumor of the,
Well, it seems
Well,
With
they're going to have
Spider-Man,
to connect it because it is
but not a
accused-
Spider-Man being in Venom.
Yeah,
Because
it's
they've
a
already
Spider-Man
given up.
character.
basically said, you know what, fuck it, we can't do Spider-Man. We saw it in Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. You look, no one pretend they don't exist. You do Spider-Man.
Well, they were
so
better
we're probably making a pretty penny out of that.
Yeah.
I would imagine there's a lot of a lot of money out of the licensing. Just do the same with Venom.
Yeah.
Just at this point, what is Venom without Spider-Man? Really, he's not
The-
really.
the thing that I've
Well,
really-
they're now talking about Carnage movie, aren't they?
Yeah,
the
but
thing
this is what
I've
he is, mate, is that
really-
he's
villains. Oh, we don't really
He's
know
not-
what to
he's
do
not
with
a
that. It's
bad
like the
guy.
Joker
He's an
without
anti-hero.
Batman. No.
Oh, yeah. The thing I've really struggled with is the
no.
fact that they've fought to not have an R rating, which seems like bonkers to me.
Because we've repeatedly proven recently that you can do an R-rated superhero film. It's fine. We had Deadpool, we had Logan, and they all did good money.
Yeah,
Logan was brilliant.
Yeah,
Logan really did it right. Deadpool's R-rated because it's taking itself the right amount, not serious because that is everything Deadpool is. If they hadn't done that,
But Logan is
worked.
not a laugh a minute. There's
No,
a
Logan's
serious
finally
film.
doing exactly what he should
No
do.
Country
Which
for Old
is
Men.
turn
pretty
Will
much.
Ferrell, basically. He's finally acting violent. Because in everything else, he's kind of tame.
But you would have thought that, Logan, a few years back, would probably have been an unthinkable film to have come out.
Yeah.
This is a children's comic. You can't have that much blood. You don't understand this film at all, do you? No, yeah.
I've got nothing but good things to say about Logan. I thought it was honestly
Yeah, it was
really,
good.
really.
Yeah, it did
I would say
very well.
it's almost a proper film.
Yeah.
I think the only thing I had against it is at the end of it, the kids and the obscure powers that they just tend to chuck at the side characters. But they do that in all of the X-Men films, the odd little extras, so Negasonic Teenage Warhead. They just seem like odd powers in my head. Maybe it's just me.
That's super. But the X-Men have always had completely out there powers.
They have.
Some of those characters are off the chart. Yeah.
Yeah, but they just... I think they just try too hard sometimes with these and overdo it. And I think they did that with the kids in this.
Speaking of X-Men, what's going on with X-Men?
There is one more to go, which is the Dark Phoenix film, and I think they're stopping at that.
Well,
Are they struggling with some? Did I see something that they're struggling with Dark Phoenix?
yeah, there's they've got script issues, and obviously now because of the deal that's been done with Fox and everyone else, they're talking of trying to put Reed Richards in somewhere.
What? The Fantastic Four film was...
They're trying to put Reed Richards
Yeah,
in
but
this.
because he kind of fits in the X-Men universe, and somewhere on the line there's talk of a vague crossover between X-Men and Avengers at some point in the future. So this has been mentioned, and so now they're kind of
Reed
what
Richards.
I suppose is going to be Phase 5.
So
And the X-Men are going to fit in there somewhere, but not all of them. It's all up in the air at the moment because they bought everything. I think they've got loads of
Well,
ideas.
they own it all now, so they can do
yeah,
whatever
so,
they want.
it is kind of all over the place at the moment.
Is this Reed Richards as a bad guy?
No.
Because at some stage, Reed
no.
Richards basically turns villainous.
There's talk of rebooting the reboot of Fantastic Four, but now obviously Marvel.
Yeah,
The Fantastic Four reboot was amazing.
Yeah, well, this
Mean
is
Fan
this,
Four?
Absolute
but
travesty.
it wasn't
Fan
part of the
Four stick.
MCU, and now
What a great film Fantastic was.
Yeah.
Oh,
Marvel
So
now want to
good.
put that into the MCU. That they basically want
which is the
everything
right,
to be
the right answer.
combined. So
Well, Disney's got a plan where Marvel's concerned, haven't they? So they are obviously
Yeah,
they're looking to continue this for another decade. If
I
you-
read about
Yeah,
like
actually all
after
the way to the back.
phase 4 is finished, it's going to be called something else, but it's basically a phase 5, and it continues with
They are
characters.
going to have to address the fact that they've got actors that don't
as the front
want.
face with
Yeah.
Captain Marvel, basically.
Yeah,
aren't they?
yeah.
They have to address the fact that they've got actors that don't want to do those roles anymore. So what I was saying the other day was that they're better off just rebooting. They're better off saying, like, looking at the comics now, Iron Man is a woman. There's another version of Spider-Man they can use. There's another version of
Yeah,
Thor
there's
they
plenty
can use.
of material.
There's stuff where
There's
they
plenty
can
of
just
source
jump
material.
over
Yeah,
and
there
go,
is.
this is your new Thor.
I
this is
think
your
that
new-"
I think I said to you. I think this jump over is where if it's going to, if back wheels are going to come off at any point, it's when they do that jump over.
Yeah, that's when people will start checking out.
Yeah.
And they're only going to make these films whilst people are going to the cinema. If they start hitting, we made a movie that didn't make...
Well, if they do a Star
$1 million.
Wars...
This is what I was going to say.
Star
If they
Wars
go
has
down
come
the
out
Star
almost.
Wars route.
I don't know how you fuck up Star Wars, but
I
they found
don't
a
know.
way.
Yeah, I don't know how you fuck it up.
Overthinking it.
Well, I think Solo was negatively reviewed. I don't think Solo is that bad of a film.
It
I
probably
think-
isn't, but it's a film that didn't need to be made and no one wanted to see.
I
That's
think
all
well,
right.
the
That
negative,
I think
negative
world
criticism
did want
really
to see
did.
it, but they had very different expectations.
The negative
Because you were
criticism.
quite
Do we need a
excited
Han
for Solo as a
Solo
film.
origin?
Yeah.
Do we care?
Were you disappointed with it?
No, I didn't mind it.
But
I
when,
thought
when,
it was
when,
right.
when I,
That to me would be disappointing because you were quite hyped for it turning up, and I didn't mind it. It's not. I was really.
Yeah, no,
pleased
it
with what
wasn't
they did.
amazing. But that's also because I think that Rogue One was an amazing Star Wars
Rogue
film.
One was a perfect
And-
filler for those two,
and it's
it
been-
really did a good job.
Rogue
It's
One's
very
the best of the
hard.
Star Wars films.
It's very hard
So
to make
far, yeah.
something.
Yeah, the new
to make
ones.
something
Because
better
they didn't
than.
overkill it. They didn't over-glorify anything. They didn't wreck the ship looks. Everything looked like.
Not only
it
that,
should
it's a
do.
story that's kind of interesting. How
Yeah.
how they got the Death Star plans is an
I
interesting
felt
story.
it was.
Yeah,
I mean, it
think
works,
kind
but
of is.
do we care about how
I
they
did.
got
I
the
think
Star
it made it. I
plans?
think it made. I
My
think it made a
dislike
good
is the
story.
idea that he
Yeah.
designed the exhaust pipe particularly to do that. No, it's an exhaust pipe. It's needed.
It feels like
I
you've got
didn't like
Star
that,
Wars, you've got
but-
all this universe you can play with. Why the fuck do we care about what happened with the Death Star plans? Bothans
Yeah, I don't know
jobs
what-
are good and-
Yeah, I don't know why they keep going back to that.
Look, many
I
Bothans
agree.
died to get them, but you know they got them.
Yeah, but did you enjoy it as a film?
I did enjoy it as a film,
So
but honestly,
maybe
the
we do,
MacGuffin
yeah.
could have been anything.
Yeah, that's true.
It was a cool little heist movie, basically.
Yeah.
Before we jump back into the Star Wars world, I wanted to something that we'd spoken about earlier, and I was like, "This is prime talking," and then it's a conversation that I've been having with you for a long time, and then it actually ties into a conversation that all three of us were having, and I think we've all spoken about this. Going back to Marvel, but changing media format. 2 weeks and 2 days or something until the new Spider-Man game comes out.
Yeah.
Which
It looks awesome.
It does look awesome.
it does look awesome.
Sadly, only you out of the people here will actually be able to play it because none of the rest of us have.
are they not doing?
Oh yeah, I don't have the
No,
PlayStation.
it's just no, it's Sony bankroll.
PlayStation. Okay.
I don't have
Sony
PlayStation.
first party.
Now, I have already offered out the fact that I will be getting
Yeah,
this
I'll be
game,
nipping around your place.
and I've already offered out that people can more than happily come around and play it.
Yeah, I'm
now,
gonna have to do that.
no matter how great this game looks, as I was talking to Chev, we were reviewing Spider-Man games working backwards, and I was saying the last Spider-Man game was
So,
not brilliant.
Spider-Man was good. Amazing Spider-Man had potential. Spider-Man 2 fucking failed miserably.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2 is the one that everyone remembers from the GameCube era. That was like
And it
the
just went horribly
the
wrong.
really well regarded one.
Yeah, the first one where the open world was a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the most recent, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 one, failed miserably at it.
Mm.
We had better systems, we had better everything, and yet still there was this weird laggy load system in between.
The problem is
combat
if they
was
didn't really
clunky.
get the swinging right, and
No.
if you're going to do a Spider-Man game,
Yeah.
you got to get the
Yeah,
web
the swinging's got to be right. It's like having a flight simulator game, but not really
the flying's
being very
really
good
bad.
at the cockpit.
Yeah, you've got
That's
to
Flight
get some,
Simulator, why I'm in the car, because we didn't quite figure out the planes. That's
The,
the Flight
the,
Simulator.
the reason I wanted to raise it is that the price of this game
How much is it going
is
for yours?
£50.
Yeah, we've had this chat
I mean,
about the cost of games.
That's the cost of a game.
the cost of
it seems to be these days, but
Then
should
it's
it
too
be?
much.
I think I would argue that a publisher can charge whatever they want for a game.
Yeah.
And there are games I paid £50 for that I was fine with, and it's
Yeah.
less that they're charging £50 for a game, but they're not charging £50 for a complete game. They're
That's-
charging £50 for a shell of a
Start
game.
for 10.
Yeah, that's the
And-
problem.
The real thing that bothers me is when it's built around the idea of microtransactions and the game design is bent to fit that model.
Yeah, that's the
That's when it
issue.
bothers
And
me.
DLC.
Because we know that when you're going to pay 50 quid, but there's going to be at least 3 DLCs.
Yeah.
Because it seems to be that
Shadow of
games
War was
release
the,
3
That's
DLCs.
what I was going to mention.
The real bad one where they basically made the end game an awful fucking grind unless you
Paid the money.
Unless you paid the money. That's an example of them bending the game to fit the model. If £50 for a good game that is complete, and I mean, like for example, if we were saying we paid 14 quid for The Witcher 3 and all its DLCs. If
You
you
did.
paid, if you had paid 70 quid for The Witcher, would you have felt ripped off? Because I wouldn't. Considering the sheer amount of stuff.
it's a
You
really
hate
good game.
I don't hate it. All I'm saying is I can't. I don't like open world games, but I can't fault it for the amount of content and the quality of its
No,
content.
I agree that Witcher 3
the sheer
fits.
amount of stuff in that
Yeah,
game and the
I
sheer
paid
love
full
that
price.
went into it. 70 quid would be, for me, with its DLCs and everything, a fair price.
I
Witcher
paid full
3.
price for the extended and get the DLC.
I paid 14 quid, it's probably the biggest steal I've ever paid for a game.
Say,
The
definitely.
best I've ever played.
The Witcher 3,
Yeah.
I basically got the Witcher 3 Gold Edition for free by trading the Witcher 3 in. Because the Gold Edition was that cheap and the Witcher 3 was still that valuable that I basically went, I'll give you this if you give me
The
that.
Witcher
anyway.
3 shows how to do DLC. Witcher 3 is a complete game.
Yeah,
It
the
out of the box.
DLC
And-
was...
and
The
the
DLC
interest-
is an expansion
It
to
was
that game, and it
downloadable
was
content.
obviously made after the fact.
Yeah,
And
'cause
was
it,
put a
it
lot
fits
of love and
perfect.
effort
It
into it.
fits really
And-
well into
and
the game.
Yeah.
one of the-
It's flawless.
One of the only times I've ever seen this, when you open the box
Yeah, it's
for Witcher
seamless.
3, there was a red, like what you know, it's not paper, it's not laminate, it's like a leaflet.
Yeah.
It was about that big, and it was a note from
The publishers.
CD.
That said,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, and it said,
And
thank
it
you
was,
for buying this.
thank you for buying this. We've put a lot of heart and a lot of soul into this game. We've put a lot of hard work into it. But this game is for you, the game player. So here is our sort of promise to you. The next 150 things that are released for this game, you will get for free, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
If that's an extra mission, free. If it's a
Outfits.
weapon, free. If it's a set of armor, it's free. The next 150 items that are released for this game, you get for free because you've paid for this. And if it wasn't for you paying for the game, we wouldn't be
But The
making
Witcher
it.
3 sold like gangbusters. It's made an absolutely astonishing
yeah.
amount of money.
Yeah, it has.
But it's not had to be a complete dick about it. It's
Yeah,
made that
that's
money.
true.
It's the Witcher
And we were
series,
talking
very
about this earlier.
Really popular.
My question would be, if you put the new Spider-Man game at £50 up against State of Decay 2 that was released at £25 and then give them the same amount of time to sell, what the difference in values would be.
The thing is, value is such a subjective thing.
Yeah.
Because, for example, Vanquish is a game that's 6 hours long, and I've
That's
played
it.
Vanquish probably
That's
about
the Rocket
6
Boots.
times.
Rocket Boots.
Yeah,
teams.
Rocket Knees. It's
Yeah.
Gears of War with Rocket Knees.
Right.
And it's amazing, and I've played it through 6 times, and I bought it. I think
Do you know what makes
twice.
Vanquish so great?
because it has Rocket Knees.
I'm going to say it.
Is it the Rocket
Knees and Guns?
It's the person who voices the main character. It's voiced by Steve Bloom.
Steve
Wolverine-
Blum's in everything.
Wolverine himself.
Steve Blum has voiced every game character. He's Spider-Man, isn't he? So that's Steve Blum. Spider-Man's mum, that's probably Steve Blum as well.
I'm not sure what you mean by
The point is about value is that I don't feel robbed by paying. I bought Vanquish twice. I bought it on the 360 and I rebought it on the PC.
Yeah.
And every time I think, how long's Vanquish? It's about 6 hours. Oh, I
The
could go
thing
for
about
it.
Vanquish.
the thing about State of Decay was it was super cheap. It was an
But we-
unfinished game, but it's been finished, and there's
And
not really been any.
how many
DLC for
weeks was it before on the front of the thing on the Xbox was it saying join 3 million players?
it. Yeah,
3 million times 25 quid.
yeah, it's good.
It's a bit of wedge.
Yeah, it's done, and it's done alright for itself because it's still selling well. And there's been a couple of DLCs, but they're only like weapon packs and stuff.
I
So
think
they're
publishers
they're
worse.
not like things you really need to play the game. They're just fun things.
I think a big mistake that publishers often make is this idea that all games have to be £50 regardless. And they don't.
Well, that's what Microsoft tried. That's why they.
Well, State of Decay is cheap as a cheaper game. Sure,
Yeah.
that's cool.
You
And-
might
and
be
it's
able to
worth-
answer this because you know.
And you're a bit
comics.
more. You're less critical when there are problems with it because you go, well, it was only 25 quid, and then when they fix it, which they've done, you're like, okay, it's
I
definitely.
tend
worth
to
it.
if I'm going to let anyone off, I tend to let off smaller dev teams. If it's an indie game, yeah, I accept there might be problems. But for like these big budget things, it's like there's big problems.
Yeah,
If
no
it's
excuse.
Ubisoft, you've got no excuse.
Beyond Russia Gate.
Are you making this in your basement? Fair enough, I'll give you some leeway. No,
Yeah,
you might be able to
Ubisoft.
explain the economic difference on this one.
Ubisoft
Yeah,
are weird
it's-
because they'll release a fucking awesome
Great, man.
game like.
Yeah.
Fantastic game. The
Great
Rayman Origins and Legends.
And then
games,
shite like Unity.
There's 2D runners. Brilliant games.
Oh no, it's broken on
I'd happily pay
purpose.
20 quid for those for PC once.
That was my
I think I
favourite.
did. Why is it you can buy them on an Android phone for 50p?
Because they're in this case, because they're different games. Because one of them is a much, one of them's a proper full fat console game, the other one's a mobile game.
They're slightly compressed down, but the actual base game itself is the same. you pay the same money. There are certain
There's
games...
also that the mobile market is just very different. The mobile market's always been a race to the bottom. If you pay, like, Nintendo released their games on mobile, charged, price of £10, and no one bought them because no one expects to pay £10 for a mobile game.
Different
It's just not a done thing.
I wouldn't pay for a mobile game.
But that's exactly the sort of attitude.
Why
that's
is the
why
game
it's
for the
bottom.
Wii U
Because you can get free
about
games.
£15 cheaper
That's
than
what
when it's
most
on
people
Switch?
say. Yeah.
That's Nintendo gouging you.
But why is it a different price on different platforms?
Because Nintendo are gouging you. There's no other
Not even
explanation.
Nintendo.
Why is Donkey Kong, Tropical Freeze £60 on the Switch and
I wouldn't argue
£15
it.
on the Wii U? Because Nintendo know they can charge you for it.
I wouldn't make a song and dance if it was, £10 cheaper on Xbox. That's competition. That's PlayStation, Xbox trying to have it out. I just can't understand how putting on a smaller device makes it cheaper than having it on a big device.
Basically,
obviously
publishers
means
will charge what they think they can get away with. And on the mobile, evidently, no one will pay up front. This is why they're all microtransactions.
Most people will pay 99p for a game top.
But because no one will pay that, and they know that no one will pay that up front,
Yeah.
that's why they make the microtransaction. Like, it's the only way you can actually make money off them.
Yeah.
And why are they charging twice as much on the Switch as the Wii U? And that's a very simple answer, because they can.
Oh, which reminds me, today I downloaded a free game, which is Friday the 13th. It's a puzzle game where you play Jason Voorhees, and the object of the game is to kill as many people as possible.
Is it a puzzle game, or is it the first-person one where you have to
No, it's a puzzle game.
Because of the actual Friday the 13th
Yeah, because
game.
apparently
it's a real
there's-
thing. And it's really popular.
And isn't that on the Xbox, the Friday the 13th?
I don't know, there is a Friday the
It's like one of those asymmetric multiplayer things, isn't it?
Yeah, Jason's rather overpowered but slow, and your people. But if you stand too near him, your character gets progressively more terrified.
He was quite well regarded for what it's worth.
There's
I
a really good video.
I played a game on the Xbox a few years ago, which was the Saw game, and that was great. That was cool. You get to kill people.
I don't like the Saw films at all.
It was great fun. I
There's
quite enjoyed
one
playing the
floating
thing.
around you might like then called 0 Hour. I think it was a small indie production one, but you've got control over your character and influence to all the other people, and the object is to get out alive. And your decisions and influence to them will
How old
cause
is
them
this? Is this on?
It's a couple of years now it's been floating around.
Is that
on
the one?
Steam.
Am I thinking the one that was on the 3DS, or is that a different one?
I don't know. It floats around on Steam, but it does sort of look like Saw, but you have to get out and basically encourage other people to hurt themselves instead of yourself.
That doesn't sound.
What I
like
miss,
that
going
game,
back to your
be honest.
DLC thing, what I miss is buying a game that's complete and there's no DLC.
Yeah.
That time is gone.
Yeah, I miss buying a game where I get my game
Actually, that's
and
not
it's,
fair.
it's
You
finished.
do. I mean, you do get like complete games, like Doom 2016. I banged out about it all the time, but it's a complete awesome game right out of the box.
And they won't do DLC for that one. Whether they
Ghost
do with the
Recon.
second, but the second's coming out soon.
Ghost Recon Wildlands. I mean, it's got DLCs, but
But you
as
don't
a
need
guy, I never got the DLCs originally. I've only got the DLCs recently,
Yeah.
and I haven't finished one of them.
Yeah.
Oh, there's loads of games where you don't have to get the DLC.
And
I mean,
that's a
It's
50-hour
just-
game.
Yeah, you definitely.
I mean, you've got your EAs and your Ubisofts,
Amazing
who are obviously
game.
the worst at this sort of thing.
Deus Ex was one, wasn't it? There's like a contextual piece of plot
Deus Ex,
missing,
yeah.
and that was DLC. To find out what happened there, because there's a weird time jump to this bit, you have to buy their DLC to find out.
Yeah, the second
what's
Deus
on.
Ex was sort of a bit notorious.
And
I mean,
Mass
it wasn't a
Effect.
complete game in the end either.
Mass
Which
Effect
was-
fills in one of their stories with DLC.
Mass Effect 3 had one of the worst examples I think I've ever
Yeah,
seen,
you
where
have
they locked up a character
Yeah,
and they locked
and
up a
basically
very
an
poor
ending.
piece of story.
And then build you for it. I mean,
Bunch of bastards.
just
Yeah, that kind of stuff should be.
EA are a bunch of bastards. There's no
That
getting
should be
around
it.
if that was a thing of more.
I don't
We're
think
getting
it-
sued by
but
Disney, we're
most
getting
DLC.
sued by EA.
I haven't actually bought an EA game since I cancelled my pre-order for Battlefront 2.
Have you not paid for any Sims since then?
No.
Oh, fair enough.
I mean, what do
I
EA
boycotted them
make
completely.
these days?
The last great game I
Because
played from
the
them was
Battlefront 2
Titanfall
thing.
2. The
What
Titanfall
was
2
Battlefront 2
campaign was
thing?
amazing.
They basically
Yeah, it was really good.
locked all the decent characters unless you paid extra for them. And the game was like 60 quid, and I'm like, if I pay 60
Well,
quid
eventually
for a game,
that bit them on the arse, didn't it? Because
did, yeah.
because
Yeah, they
then
got
Disney
some-
came and laid down the hammer on
yeah,
that
it
one.
did eventually.
Something like
Train
400
Simulator
hours.
2017 to pay for that game and all of its DLC cost you over £1,000.
What was that?
Train Simulator
All
2017.
of the simulators are like that though on
because
Steam.
every
PGA
DLC is just
Tour.
another train.
I remember saying to you, I bought a PGA Tour game, and you got the game and like 4 courses.
I'll be
for
honest,
40 quid.
I expect
Me and
DLC
Phil worked it out one
anything
day,
to do with
and it
golf.
was going to cost
Purely to be like Grand Theft
£120
Auto,
for the
where
full
you
game.
get to be their life and the drug problem and then the violence. That should be the DLC.
Plus,
of
now
golf
the
game.
exciting thing we've got is special editions. As we were saying the other day, Red Dead 2, where you
the special edition
doesn't come with the game. 102 quid for the special edition of Red Dead 2, but the
What?
game is separate.
It doesn't come with the game.
No, the game is separate.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Buy the special edition of the
add
game without the game.
You can add the game
Yeah.
to it as an additional cost.
Yeah.
Oh, we could all rush out and order our
Box.
Fallout special edition with
Oh,
the
220
220
Like
quid.
that's the same with them selling a PlayStation without a controller. Here, have something that's fuck all used to you right now.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, if you're going to buy special editions of games, you know what you're getting yourself in for. So
I've never seen a special edition without a game, though.
The only one I ever wanted to buy was the Fallout one. I wanted the Pit-Boy. I wanted a real Pit-Boy.
yeah,
I
that's
got
true.
so
When I
excited.
bought a
was
special
like,
edition, it was like this big, and I'm taking all the stuff out going, where's the game? And the game was like a download.
Oh, okay.
You
Yeah.
downloaded
I
the
think
game.
I was showing this the other day, Andy. Catherine came with a pair of boxer shorts and a love pillow.
Yeah, you did show me that.
What was this?
I didn't ask you
What's
to show
Catherine?
that. I will point that out.
It was an Xbox 360.
Oh, it's
the Japanese infidelity
amazing.
simulator.
Weird game.
It's amazing. Catherine's never been a
I
game
got it-
quite like Catherine.
I got it on another. It was another free one that I got, and I played the first few levels and was like you were saying.
During
game.
the day, you can decide to cheat on your girlfriend or not, and during the night you play through your own conflicted subconscious doing a puzzle game. It's really, really weird.
And it's really
never played
hard as
anything
well.
quite like
the
that.
game
I feel really
was
guilty.
really
I'm just gonna play a bit of
hard.
Tetris. Feel better now.
Pretty much.
Well, to be fair, Tetris helps me through some difficult times in my life too. Why not?
But it depending whether you want to stay with your shrieking harpy of a girlfriend or go with that obviously mad
I mean it in the nicest
other lady,
way, but-
also called Catherine.
And I know these games come to you
That's
free. That doesn't mean you have to accept them. If you think, what's that free game they're offering me? Don't.
I
get
paid
it
full
and
price
play
for
it.
Catherine, so I'm proud of the fact.
I kind of wanted to cut that bit out just so I can try and forget saying that. Why would you want an infidelity simulator?
Because it's really fucking weird, and I'm attracted to novelty in games more than anything.
Alright, fair enough. No, that does
Grim
explain
Fandango.
that does explain the pigeon.
Not Grim Fandango is a fucking amazing
It's a
game.
great game. I love that game.
So-
They recently re-released it.
Grim Fandango, it's the
I know it's the Grim Reaper and it's really good humour in it.
it's Tim Schafer one.
they-
It's Dead
it's
Tentacle.
all of that.
Last
With
year
yourself.
it was
Working
re-released
in
on the
hell,
Apple
and
and all posh.
you go to Hell's Office and it's permanently at 1 minute to 5 or something, or weird little niceties.
There's a bit at the beginning that I always remember where you can talk to the balloon, someone who makes like balloon animals, and you can ask him to make you a balloon animal of renowned poet Robert Frost. So
And you can search for stupid things like, I don't need this cat meat. Just puts it down and walks away.
I fucking love Grim
like-
Fandango. If you want to play Grim Fandango again now, just get out of my house. I'll
I've
play
never
Grim
played
Fandango.
it, but I've seen lots of bits to do with it.
Yeah, it's great.
One of the
Game.
games I should probably give it a go one day.
Have you played? You were talking about Day of the Tentacle.
Yeah,
not so
it's
long
oh,
ago.
yeah.
They
Basically
remastered
like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've got the remastered version. I really love the humour in that game.
What's the other one they did?
Absolutely
Full
love it.
Throttle.
So tongue in
Full
cheek.
Throttle's also great.
That was the other one,
It's
which
like
is
playing
like that.
Monkey Island.
Monkey Island's also great.
I've got the remastered versions. I love them.
And Sam & Max is also great.
Yeah.
Never played them, but I feel like I should because again, tongue in cheek and bad taste, just hidden amongst child.
I
Yeah,
am rubber, you are glue.
The rehashed Monkey
I
Island
really
is really
like
cool,
it.
actually.
Bounce
that
off
from
me,
the,
bounce off me and sticks to you.
The insult fencing.
I saw some screenshots of
Appropriate
the
fan.
My favourite bit is still in
re-released
the opening.
Resident
Is
Evil
what's
2
your
as well.
name? Guy Bush Streetwood.
Yeah,
That's the
they've
weirdest name I've ever
released-
heard. What's your name? Man Come Seapley.
The what Claire looks like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
looks cool.
Sorry, that's
Looks really cool.
It does.
No.
It's actually making me think that I might
Yeah, I might end up getting it.
have a
What's
little
this,
go.
I saw
The
some
re-release
screenshots
of
the,
Resident Evil
the
2.
new
I'm
the
kind of
remaster.
psyched for it.
It looks
It's just-
really cool.
It's just because it's a complete ground up redo. And
Yeah.
the original Resident Evil 2 has aged like mayonnaise in the sun. So
Yeah.
it needs.
Yeah, it has.
You cannot just remaster it. It needs a full
No, it looks
redo.
really. The
fucking
screenshots I
really
saw.
nice.
But like, just basically, like when I was thinking, like like your Metroid Zero missions and the like, that just basically took the base game and thought, out the window. You go. We're sticking with the core idea and the core storyline, but otherwise we're remaking it from the ground up.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
do you guys feel about these remasters that are coming out then?
There's a difference between a remake and a remaster.
It depends how they do it.
prefer a new game.
Well,
if I'm honest.
I call it a remaster.
Yeah.
When they are literally taking an old thing and making it better. Or improving its look but keeping everything like that. So the Crash Bandicoot in my head is a remaster.
No, that's a remake, I would argue.
But it's exactly the same as the original, it just looks better. That is all
I
it
suppose
is.
that straddles the
They're going to
line.
start fighting.
Yeah.
And
We'll
you
have it on
right to
camera,
some degree, because it is a level design wise, it is the same.
Yeah.
We've got things like, for example, the
Spyro's
remake.
coming out soon as well.
The remake
well
of
excited for that. I really hope it comes out on PC.
Spyro.
Rage Against the Machine
yeah.
versus the Machine.
But you've got things like, the remake of Metro 2033, where they completely redid it, or Tomb Raider Anniversary is a great example of where they took the original Tomb Raider and thought, okay, we're going to go to Peru, we're going to fight a T-Rex, but ultimately the level design is completely changed to take into account modern hardware, modern...
and they chucked in the quick
I
time
assume
effects
that's
and
what they're
all
going to do
sorts
with
of
Resident Evil 2.
But that's what... It could be
that's
cool.
what some games
It looks.
deserve.
I mean, the screenshots of it were really cool. It looked really. I was like, wow, that looks good. That
And
looks really
Capcom
smart.
have been pretty on form with Resident Evil recently. So.
Yeah, their last one was very good.
I hate to say I don't
I
care.
really want to do the escape room bits of that.
I'm really looking forward to the new Devil May Cry.
Yeah, of course
Yeah,
not. Doesn't
same.
mean my crowd's fucking awesome.
When I go to E3, not E3, Eurogamer, I'm looking really forward to testing
That and
it.
Bayonetta 3, it's like, yeah, bring them on. I love me a
If I'm
spectacle
honest,
fighter.
you
I
can
never got on
keep Bayonetta, right?
the camera angles and everything.
Yeah, you
about
can keep
it.
Bayonetta for me.
You sicken me.
But Devil May Cry,
Get out of my party.
Devil May Cry is fantastic games. I've loved every single one except the second.
you know,
And
I
still
know
like
I didn't
the
comment.
second.
I kind of wish they'd have maybe done another DMC.
I kind of get the feeling this one is going to be the combat and gameplay aspects of DMC, but take it a bit further backwards. So
I
it's
didn't
not
like the
DMC's
colour coding
characters.
bits of DMC, but...
A little bit too
DMC's supposed to make you feel like it feels. You're supposed to feel a little
I
bit
didn't
dirty.
love it.
Cool, am I going to have white hair and a cool red suit?
No, not in DMC, no. That's the,
Just by the end.
problem.
That's not true.
Does
You
by the
can
end.
actually get that outfit.
Yeah, you can. There is an outfit.
And there is a nice little scene where he gets the wig and go, no.
They've basically taken DMC and thrown out the window. They're considering it a reboot that no one cares
You
about.
see, I really liked it. I think they did a
I
really good job
kind
of
of
it.
liked it.
I think they kept some of the best
And
features
I
of the
liked it
original
enough to say I'd like to see another
I didn't
one.
hate it. I quite liked the way it played. It was okay.
I love the gameplay. I think that balance between all of the weapons simultaneously really worked well.
I would rather play Devil May Cry 4 though if it came down to it.
Oh,
No,
now there's a game I've owned multiple times.
I've
I
also
have.
owned it multiple times.
I have, and I still think that the third is my favourite. I didn't like the hand thing. It
I've
suddenly changed, because all of them have been very linear, here's the path, but never felt linear, and that one suddenly put barriers in the way that you couldn't get through without your hand, which
What's
just...
the game you've owned the most?
Devil May Cry 1.
I think I've owned Super Metroid 4 times. I've owned Okami 3 times, and I've owned Bayonetta 3 times.
See, I've only... I had a PlayStation 2, and I've had a PlayStation 3, and then I've had PC.
Black Flag?
Assassin's
How many
Creed.
times you bought it?
The good Assassin's Creed.
How many times? You
I-
bought that 3 times?
I own 3 copies of Black
I
Flag.
only own it on PC, but I got
360,
it with my graphics.
Right.
PlayStation 4.
Is there an Xbox One?
Think
Mine's probably Worms.
Is there an Xbox One?
It's good calls. They're really
Yeah.
okay.
I think because I had Worms
Yeah.
on the PlayStation,
Yeah,
and
I'd
I
go
had it
with
on
that.
the PC. I've had it on my phone,
I've got
and I've had it on the Xbox.
Yeah, good.
As the versions of.
There you go.
What
Come
is
along.
awesome.
Yeah, I'd say. I think
Okay,
Worms
got
is
it.
probably the
Yeah.
game I've owned the most.
Worms 2 Armageddon. The best one.
Yeah. I'd
Well,
go with
the
that. That took some
mobile
thought.
version
That.
is a bitch to
Because
play.
I'm like, what am I playing?
What was the pig one?
Do you remember when
Hogs
you used
of
to
War.
play it?
Awesome.
Voiced by Rick Mail.
Rick Mail, brilliant game.
Great game.
Which one?
Really good game.
Hogs
Hogs
of
of
War.
War. Really cool. Great game.
It was alright. I didn't like it as much as Worms.
It was
The
not.
first attempt at a 3D version, admittedly.
Worms is one of those games I call it Halo or Pokemon syndrome, where the first game gets it absolutely spot on the first time. So every sequel is kind of, well, what do we do?
Yeah, I will just make the graphics better.
It's like Pokemon. Every Pokemon game afterwards is basically the same because it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
they kind of nailed it the first time. Or Halo, where they're just like, yeah,
Yeah.
We did it right the first time, so we'll just
Make
keep
some
on
more
making
levels.
some Halos.
I toasted. Do you remember playing Worms when we first played it? And you could aim a bazooka into the wind and hit a worm on the other side of it.
Yeah.
The scene that
You
you
got
got
really
really fucking
fucking
fail.
good. You got
Yeah,
good.
it used to piss me off.
Bloody
I'm
hell.
getting angry with that.
Try it now. Can't fire a fucking bazooka for the love of me.
Wow.
Absolutely annoys me.
Yeah, I remember playing it on the PlayStation. And then I was like, that was
I
cool.
can always go for a game of Worms. It's completely ageless.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, considering that Worms came out in what, 1995? It's like, could you go for a game of Worms?
Yeah.
It was like
That's
playing
fine.
the original Doom.
Prototype.
Oh, that's well satisfying to play. Number 2.
Xbox 360, PS3,
I loved them.
PlayStation 4.
Why would you buy it more than once was more than enough for me, Frank?
No, I think I've owned Prototype 2 twice. I've owned Prototype once. But number 2, it's just enjoyable free world running.
Really? I've had super mediocre.
Yeah, it is, but it's just pleasing
I love
to
the
play.
first one. I
It's just
love it.
pleasing.
Get it on New Game Plus, so you got all the powers from the start. Love it. I've played it more than I've played any other game.
That's completely bonkers, man.
Have you got times on how much time you played on games?
You don't really get that on the console.
Oh, Steam tells you.
Yeah, you
Okay,
do.
I wanted to find
You
out
get
how
it in
much.
the
Oh, you
achievement.
get on the app,
Most
can't
time
you?
spent on
Yeah.
games today.
I think on
If
Steam
you look
it's
on the
actually
achievements as well, it'll tell you.
the dinosaur one.
Arc.
Just because it's
383 hours.
I don't consider time I spent on a game to be necessarily be indicative of how much I've enjoyed it, because some games are just longer than others. Like a really long RPG might be 60 hours long, but doesn't mean I had fun during all that 60 hours, or it might have been just about enough to keep me going for that amount
My
of time.
longest game is Fallout 4.
How much time do you think you spent on that?
I can tell you.
Oh dear.
I'll bring it up.
I wouldn't mind knowing actually. I'm curious. 'Cause I spent a lot of time on Fallout 4. I spent just over 200 hours on The Witcher 3 now because I've done that.
I think I'm on 90 hours.
I spent so long on
Takes a
Fallout
lot.
4 and then realised, oh that's right, I played Fallout 3, I don't need to do this. Because it's...
Yeah, it's hard. It's
No,
hard.
it's completely
So
different. It's
fucking
completely different. You can build bases now.
Wow, look at you with 1,000 points.
If it's any consolation.
We don't talk about it.
Right.
Because Tim brought that up today.
Did he?
Oh, bastard.
Tim that seems to have switched games.
Tins.
287 hours.
287.
Fallout 4. And I'm level 81.
It's just no.
I get bored of the same games. I just like playing a lot of a big variety of them. But
I mean, I just enjoy fanning around, building shit. I think that's
Exactly.
I'll steal a number.
He's going to go for the full fat. He's going to do you a
Good.
solid.
I'll look for that on Silly Day.
I'm thinking
Well,
his leg
Witcher
with
3
every
is
sip.
at Witcher 3 is at
No one else
93
got one.
hours
What? Mr. Cook?
at the moment.
You can get another. He's still got a little stash of
I
ones.
want.
He just can't bring himself
I
to
would have
reject.
had a diet one, but I won't steal some diet ones because I know you know.
Tim's not even
he
unbelievable.
He might die.
You can drink some
No,
Diet Coke,
no.
Andy. I'm not so poor. I can't afford to give it to me.
Go get one.
Yeah, maybe actually, yeah.
Do you want
A
Mr.
little bit of something.
No, I'm good, thanks. Unless it's got alcohol in it.
I've got some
I don't have
raging
any booze, I'm
Alcohol
afraid.
in there.
That's good for some of his lovely.
I'm gonna say, I've got some whiskey.
Yeah, crack it open. Happy
Why did you get some whiskey, Ed?
Fuck off.
Is it because you're all old and shit?
I just gave it away. By
Oh no, I'm 30. I don't mind being 30. I just
Oh, I
despise
didn't
my
realise
birthday.
my state of decay is 82%.
Oh, you got some whiskey out. We wouldn't have bothered if it wasn't.
It's a happy day in my life that I fucking hate.
And even that's 60.
And if I walked in and congratulated a few people in office for a day that they didn't like, I guarantee I'd get sacked for being unfair. And yet you lot are allowed to do this to me.
If you know, someone gave me a bottle of whiskey though for that day,
Yeah, exactly.
that made me think, oh, maybe
I sat in a meeting with your
Exactly.
boss today where she went. It was Ed's birthday yesterday. I was like,
I managed to
Dench!
I got
she's like,
the
yeah. I was
whole
like, the little
fucking
bastard.
thing.
Yeah, he did tell us so. As
The
soon as
little
we heard,
bastard.
we were like,
I was like, I'm seeing him this evening. I'm going to get him a present. He'll love that.
Nope.
Loved it, didn't he?
He did.
He was well happy.
Nope.
I think he nearly smashed it over your face.
yeah, no, but
Which would have been a real crime because that would have been a massive waste of whiskey.
it's a decent whiskey as well.
The best for you, Edward.
Nothing but the best will doodle do.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you all so bloody much for the.
You're welcome.
Well, at least get drunk on, you know.
At this point in time, seeing as I need you guys to do me a favour, and I feel like the conversation has just descended into us all insulting each other.
Yeah, I feel like it's
It's going that way.
Wrap it?
Yeah, let's wrap it
Sorry
up.
if this last like 15 minutes is boring, everyone.
Sorry, viewers.
This whole thing was going to fire it all to the sun, people.
Evidence of our acceptance.
Right, so on that note, I'll wait for this to connect so I can turn it off and say bye-bye. Everybody say bye-bye.
Laters, yo.
Bye. So there you go, what do you think to that? Movies and a bit of games. Yeah. So, as always, jump over to thecookiecast.com, check what we got going over there. Send us a message if that's something you fancy doing. YouTube watchers, drop us a comment in the video. Tell us, is this good? What do you think? Yeah, cool. Okay, so we're gonna keep trying new things until we find something that sticks and really works. This is something new. Hope you guys like it, and hopefully there'll be more things like this. So tune in next time to see what we've got here on Cookiecast. But until next time, I'm going to say bye-bye.